So yeah, we were giving out, 3 quotes, and I think it took about maybe almost 2 hours. It's pretty interesting. Just dealing with the new calls that come in and whatnot, and just dealing with people. I swear, it's just so interesting. It's so interesting. Like for instance, we had one guy call us for a one-time mow over the past couple days earlier this week. And typically, we don't do one-time mows, especially during the busy times. April, May, June. We don't do one-time mows. We haven't done one-time mows, and this is the first one-time mow quote I've done actually like all year. And the reason I'm doing that is because we have extra capacity. So might as well cover the overhead with something, right? That's for a different video. But anyway, so yeah, I went out to go give this one-time quote, and one thing I like to do now with people who call is just, it's interesting how much you can just learn with just staying quiet. Like, it's wild, man. Um, just staying quiet and saying simple things to let them know that you're listening, just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, okay, okay, yeah, sure. And just letting them continuously spill all the beans. Like, we just had this one guy call us, like for the one-time mow, and he was like, "Oh, my lawnmower just broke, and I'm going on vacation. I need the lawn mowed. The grass is kind of long, and I don't want the neighbors to complain. Yada yada yada, whatever, whatever." And I'm just, okay. What are you looking for? Oh, you're only looking for a one-time. Okay, okay. And this dude, as I'm doing this, I'm just staying quiet, going, okay. And this dude just goes on and on and on. And by the end of the phone call, I mean, the dude was almost, I don't want to necessarily say begging, but he was almost, I mean, the words came out of his mouth. He was like, "Dude, I'll pay you whatever you want. Please mow my lawn." And I was literally just on the phone with him, like, okay, all right, sounds good. But it's just interesting how that happens, dealing with people and stuff like that. It's just fascinating. And kind of just like another thing I wanted to share too about quotes is, I found it just to be slightly more efficient, at least for your managing time's sake. You're gonna spend like extra time at the property, out quoting the property when you do this. But I just feel like it is a good way to get things done. And what I'm talking about is, so, what I used to do was I would come out, take a look at the yard, and first of all, I never had a client sheet like this. Let me show you guys a blank one. I never had a client sheet like this before, and I just got this year and started using it. But I carry this with me to all the quotes and on every single phone call with a new client that comes in, and it helps be more efficient. I've showed this in another video before, so I'll just try to be quick. Helps be efficient, yada yada yada. But anyways, you can kind of get the gist. Get the name, address, phone, email. How do you prefer to communicate? This question comes later when they sign. Preferred method of payment. Lawn care services. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Other notes. Couple lines for notes. And how did you hear about us? Got to keep track of those advertising dollars, guys. What's working, what's not. And then this little question here. Do you like to give us permission to use your lawn for pictures in our advertising purposes? I like that question. Even if we don't use it, it just makes them feel good about their lawn. And like, oh my God, these guys must do a good job, right? Because they're going to use my lawn for pictures. But no, so it is just something good. And it is good to get permission because, all right, you're on Facebook or whatever advertising, and maybe one of your clients sees a picture of their front yard on there, and it's, well, I didn't give them permission. So cover your back end there, and ask that just as the client comes on and signs with you. But anyways, no, just kind of wanted to break down a little bit of how we quote. So we take that sheet with us everywhere we go. And there's 2 things that we do now. We used to only do 1, but there's 2. And it all comes down to time. Time, because whether you like it or not, everybody gets the same 40 hours in a week, no matter what your work crew is, the equipment you have 40 hours, okay? We can get into, of course you can do 50 sometimes, but long run, 40 hours. It's just kind of how it works. So one of the ways that we do it is we do it by square feet, and then we just eyeball it and say, okay, this will take 5 minutes, the front yard will take 7 minutes, or whatever it is. And then you add it up like that. And then what I do, is then you take those two totals, and usually they're a little bit different, never exact. Then you just go to the middle. So let's say this one's at square foot time says 30 minutes, and my eyeballs say 35 minutes. We'll break it in the middle at 32. Okay? So that's kind of how it goes. And then once you get that, you come up with your price, and then go back to the car, look at those times, and think about it too. Remember, because your eyeballs, if there's a slope and it's a 45-degree slope, you're going to measure it, and it's going to say this. Your square foot measurement's not going to have the extra time it takes to take care of a slope, but your eyeballs will. So, take care of little things like that and whatnot. But anyways, so find a way to get maybe two different methods of checking yourself, per se, so you're not just going off of one thing and that's the only one thing that you got to go off of. And then come back to the car like we do, out in front of the house. And then hopefully, if you can, like we have QuickBooks on our phone, the app QuickBooks on our phone. And then so we just go in there, we come up there, we type up the estimate, fill out all the customer's information, and we send them the estimate before we even leave the property. Okay? And this mainly kind of just goes for lawn care guys. Landscape, there's a lot more face-to-face meetings with these quotes because the jobs are bigger and yada yada yada. But lawn care, 9 times out of 10 you're showing up to these people's yards, you never even see them, and you just communicate with them over however you're communicating. So anyways, that's one way we like to do it. It takes a little bit longer. You end up sitting in front of the person's house a little bit longer, but then when you leave the house, you're done. All you're doing is waiting for them to respond to your estimate. If you have a question, send the question before you leave the house, and then deal with sending the estimate later. But that's just kind of one thing we like to do with estimates and quoting, and just kind of wanted to share that. Let me know what you guys think about it. If you have any better ideas to what would work, what might not work, and yeah. So I'm gonna get back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Heavy Tuesday, and let me get away from this guy's house.